Hi, everyone. First off, thank you so much for joining us today for our great webinar about UCET and ISTE. I'm so excited to be joining with you to talk about these two great conferences and to dig into, if you've never proposed a session for either conference, or maybe you've presented at UCET and you want to level up to a national conference, this is an opportunity for us to explore and dig in. We're going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes looking over our UCET side and digging into the call for proposals, some of the changes, some of the things you need to know to jump in, either as a newbie or somebody who we've seen at the conference year after year, which is awesome. We love returning presenters. Then we're going to turn around and spend about another 20 minutes looking at ISTE, some of the new changes that are going on, some recommendations from me as a prior presenter, and some suggestions that I've gathered from other presenters across the Utah education world. So with that said, before we get started, folks, my name is Matt Winters. I'm presenting to you this year because I am the UCET president for 2022-2023. I will be running the conference in March, which, speaking of which, our conference will be held in Provo at UVCC, where we've held it the last couple of years, on March 14th and 15th. So you might want to get that on your calendar. Even if you're going, I'm not sure I'm going to present, that's a good idea to get that on your calendar so that you can come attend and join us. We have a lot of really interesting and great sessions already lined up, and some great speakers starting to line up as well. Some featured speakers, some keynotes. We're very excited about the different things that are happening for the conference this year. And we're excited to include you in that. So make sure that you mark that off on your calendar so that you are ready to roll and to join us when you for the conference as we go forward. With that said, folks, for more information about UCET, before we even get too deep, UCET23, all the information will be through our website, ucet.org. Right now, it's a little light because we're still digging in and getting things built up for the conference, but expect some changes around mid-November when we start putting together our conference schedule and the website as well. So be prepared for that, folks. And if you have questions about prior years and things like that, it's a great place to set off. And before I get too deep, I have to say thank you to the UCET board and to all the people who work with me at UCET. UCET, if you don't know, folks, is a completely volunteer board, from the president all the way down to the board members. We're all volunteers. We just love Utah education. We love educational technology, and we want to make sure, especially this year, that we put on an amazing conference for everyone in the state of Utah. So we want to include as many people as possible in this process. So if you know somebody who is doing something incredible in their classroom, something that you're just, I wish I would have thought of that level of amazingness, or something that's happening in your district or in your charter school or your LEA, feel free to share this video with them, share the call for proposals, and see if we can get them out to the conference. The more people we include in UCET, the more interesting it becomes as a conference, and we want to make sure that every educational voice in the state of Utah is included in that process. All right, with that said, folks, again, we're going to spend about 20 minutes looking at some information about UCET and its call for proposals this year and some of the changes that we've made. And then we're going to switch over to spend about 15 to 20 minutes talking about ISTE. That's a national conference. And if you've never heard of ISTE, folks, we are the ISTE affiliate, meaning that we work with ISTE on our conference and glean ideas from them as well. And as we work through, ISTE is kind of the national group that helps promote ed tech in the nation and then also internationally. It's a great conference. I've presented at it a few times. A lot of people in Utah have, and it's a great opportunity for those of us in the state of Utah who, again, are doing amazing things and want to promote the stuff that's going on in our classrooms and the amazingness that's happening around the state of Utah, to promote it at a national level and maybe even an international level. All right, with that said, folks, let's dive into UCET this year. First off, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, folks. Here is what I consider to be kind of the checklist that you might need before you go into developing your proposal, or going on to fill out the form. So first off, folks, you're going to need a session title. So something snappy. We're looking for less than 10 words, something that tells us exactly what we're going to get or intrigues us. So you could go a couple different directions. Very clear academies title if you'd like, about exactly what we're covering, or you could kind of do a creative, interesting title, or you could combine the two and really make an interesting session title. But it should be around 10 words or less and tell us exactly what we're going to be getting in this session. Number two, you're going to want to choose your session type. We're going to go look at those in just a minute. There's a very limited set of session types, and there's a couple new ones that if you've been a UCET attendee in prior years, that you might want to look at and maybe think about proposing a session for. Number three is your session description, which is kind of the long form. Here's what we would like to, here's what you would like to cover within your session and the different materials that you're going to be covering. This could get really in depth, or you can kind of give us an overview, but the goal is that this is your space to show us as a proposal, in your proposal, exactly what we're going to get, maybe down to every couple minutes in your session. You might want to think about learning outcomes. You might also want to think about specific things that you're going to discuss and ideas that you're going to cover. It doesn't need to be hugely academic. We're not maybe looking for citations and in-text citations and things like that, but we're looking for good, clear, this is what you're going to get out of this half hour, hour, or whatever session type you choose. Number four, folks, is something that a lot of people don't consider when they're proposing, but it's definitely something I would encourage you to consider, because some of the best presentations I've ever done are co-presenters, which is finding a co-presenter. So maybe you work with another teacher in your building, or you're working with another coach in your district, or you might be pairing with someone outside of your district to do a certain program, and you'd really like to bring that person in to help spotlight their work and your work and what you do in collaboration. That is a great way to run a session here at UCET, and we really look forward to sessions where 2, maybe even 3 or more people present within an hour or within a session. So consider thinking about a co-presenter. It's not a requirement, but it's definitely something that we would encourage you to have in your thought process as you prepare to put in a proposal. Number 5, sorry, is, are you going to be doing virtual, or are you going to be doing fully in person? We are going to be continuing the tradition from last year in 2022 with Clint Stevens, that we will be offering virtual sessions alongside in-person sessions. Also, we could do some combined sessions as well. So you might be able to do virtual and in person. The goal here, folks, is that you're thinking, maybe I want to pre-record my video. Maybe I want to pre-record my session because I feel a little bit more comfortable in my house or at my school, or maybe I can only do this in person. Those are things that you want to definitely consider. The last thing, folks, is a new feature of our call for proposals. We realize that many people maybe don't connect that they can run for UCET board when they propose a session for UCET. And so we're combining the two forms together this year. So this year, if you would like to run for UCET board, which is again volunteer, it is a wonderful, wonderful volunteer board. I can't say enough nice things about the people I work with on the UCET board. Then you might want to consider putting in to run for UCET board this year. We only ask for a couple other questions beyond what's on the presenter. 2 of the big ones that you might want to dig into and have ready to go is a short biography, less than 200 words, of yourself. And trust me, I know it's hard to write about yourself, but it is definitely something we need to consider and have that ready to roll. And then the other thing is why you want to run for UCET board statement. Again, less than 200 words, why you're interested in running and supporting the Utah education community through becoming a part of the UCET board. Now, with that said, folks, it's not a requirement to fill out that form. So you get a question at the end of filling out your proposal that, do you want to run for UCET board? Do you not want to run for UCET board? If you say no, it'll end the form and you're good to go. If you say yes, it'll continue on and allow you to fill that out. So those are the 6 things I would consider, and maybe start a brand new doc before you, and start writing these up before you even attempt to fill out the form for proposals. However, you can dive right in. I often do that with call for proposals, but those are the 6 things that we consider as a group that might take the most time and maybe require a bit of forethought and maybe some writing and editing, particularly if you're brand new to proposing sessions for UCET. Now, with that said, folks, we're going to head over to the live forum here for just a minute and show you some of the newer things that are going on, particularly with session types, which we mentioned earlier. There's only a few select session types this year. And some of them are new, so we're going to talk a little bit about those. Then we're also going to talk about the strand system this year. So last year we had stranded sessions where you could stay in the same room and get sessions from all day from PCBL and coaching and all sorts of things. This year we're going to continue that process with strand rooms, and we're requiring that you put in for a specific strand with each of your proposals. So we're going to be going through the different strands today and walking you through that process. So with that said, let's go ahead and move over to the live form really quickly. Before we get there, just really quick, again, all of the materials are going to be up on UCET.org. Right now we're in transition from 2022 to 2023. So a lot of the materials will be up for the call for proposals and things like that will be up very soon. But also the materials for the conference will all be here by about mid-November. So be prepared for that, folks. Again, the conference will be held March 14th and 15th in UVCC. And then again, feel free to share this call for proposals with any educators, anybody that you might be interested in. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and go over to the live form. So first of all, folks, you're going to see that this is a live form. It is due by October 28th. So that's the last day we will take proposals for 2023. I know that's for those of you that have been to UCET before or have done sessions at UCET, it's a bit earlier, but we're trying to be ahead of the curve so we can get everything ready to roll earlier and make sure that the conference goes really, really well. So just know that that's coming up very quickly, folks. So you have almost 8 weeks from when this webinar is happening to fill out your call for proposals and to get ready to roll. As you work, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or anybody on the UCET board, and we'll be able to help you out. Again, the conference will be held both virtually and in person, so we'll have some virtual options as well. As you go down to the first part of the conference page, you're going to have to fill out your email. And then also we have a little welcome and proposal guide for you. So if you forget some of the stuff we're talking about here about the strand system, the session types, I've made another video right here that will walk you through, or if somebody wasn't able to watch this session. And then also just a reminder about the board elections right here as well. If you're interested, awesome, we'd love to have you for the board elections, but if not, that's okay. We completely understand. All right, I'm going to leave the live form for just a second. So this is what will greet you. We're also going to put the webinar on this page as well when it goes live, so you're able to watch the webinar right at the beginning. I'm going to go over to our call for proposals. This is the background, so you're going to show you a couple of things here. So in the second section, folks, you're going to fill out all of your kind of presenter information. So your name, your organization, your position title, some presenter experience, those sorts of things. And then you're also going to add in any secondary presenters. So these are your co-presenters. We only have space for 2 other co-presenters, but if you need more than that, feel free to reach out to me directly. My email is matthew.winters@ucet.org. I'd be more than happy to work with you and make sure we get all of your presenters on there. If you don't have a co-presenter, folks, you can just skip these over. These are not required questions, but they're there in case we have multiple presenters on a session. Then after that, folks, it's going to take you to a second section here. Then the first part here is that it's going to ask you all your proposal information. So this is where we're going to learn about your session title, your session description, all of that information down the line. The first question that you're going to be asked, folks, is about your strands. So again, we are continuing strands from last year. We found that to be incredibly successful and got great feedback from the community on that process, and we want to make sure that we continue that. So we're expanding and continuing it and making a very good focal point of the conference. The goal being is that we really want to make sure that everyone finds a space and has a voice at UCET this year. So with that said, down below, folks, is all of the strands that we are currently offering for the 2023 conference. So as you propose a session, please select the best one that fits your proposal. Now, if it doesn't really fit any of them, feel free to email me and we'll find one that works for you, okay? The first one, folks, is AR/VR, augmented reality and virtual reality in education. So strap your VR goggles, get ready for Ready Learner 1, and we'll be ready to roll. Second one, folks, is creativity in education. So sessions that highlight creative practices and engagement practices in education. Computer science, digital literacy and citizenship, all of the different things that are going on with digital literacy and citizenship. Our film and media projects, so anything that hits building and creating film and multimedia in your classroom. It's going to be awesome. Instructional and technology coaching, leadership, personalized competency-based learning sessions, robotics, teacher and student wellness sessions, technology in English language classrooms, technology in math classrooms, technology in school libraries, technology in science and STEM classrooms, and technology in social studies classrooms. Now, notice that if you are an elementary teacher and you're going, I have a session that is largely about English and technology for elementary students, that would be a great fit for English language arts. One of the big pieces of feedback we got on the 2022 feedback form from our constituency, from everyone here in Utah, was that we wanted more connections to our content areas, and so our board selected these 5 content areas as focal points for good technology use in the state of Utah. So folks, those are the strands that we're looking for. Obviously, a lot of kind of breadth there, lots of things that are going on in those particular areas. So that's why we say there's kind of some wiggle room in all these, but just pick the one that's best fits your proposal. And again, if you are not able to think about which one or figure out which one would best fit, feel free to email me, matthew.winters@ucet.org, and I will be more than happy to help you figure out which one best fits your group or your proposal. So again, you're going to select one, and then that's going to go into our selection process. The second thing, folks, that we want to talk about at UCET is just down below a couple questions here. So we got choose your audience, skill level, some general session information. Here is the format. So there are only 5 formats this year that you can propose for, varying times and varying types of what we're going to be doing. So the first one, folks, is what we're calling a learner spotlight. This is a table or poster presentation that spotlights some particular practice or idea that you would like to share in maybe kind of an almost unconference style model where you're able to have people walk by, talk to them, present, and share what's going on. That can include hands-on, or it might include a larger set of people. So you might have a session that's a learner spotlight or learning spotlight that focuses on bringing in some students or maybe a group of teachers to show off the amazing work that's happening there. But know that we'll be giving you a physical space and a set of time for people to come by, talk to you, see your table and poster, and get excited about what you're teaching about. Number 2, folks, is our playground. This is a hands-on demonstration. So this is a space where we'll give you a table or an area to sit down and actually provide hands-on learning opportunities for conference attendees. This could include anything from experiments to robotics programming or coding, and there's just a lot of options. So if you're wanting to do something a little bit more hands-on with your proposal, feel free to use the playground. That is one of my favorite ones, actually. I absolutely love that one. The third one, folks, is brand new, and it's one that maybe a little bit different from prior years. In prior years, we've done Ignite talks, and those have been amazing 5-minute, really rapid fire discussions about a particular topic, an idea. However, we wanted to expand that a little bit further this year. So what we're having is we're calling them Utah Ed Chats. So after the Twitter chat that we have every week through UCET, these are 10 to 15-minute TED style talks. Now, most of these will be actually on our main stage throughout the day. So lots and lots of eyes on those. And we're going to treat you like a TED speaker for Utah education. So you'll come on stage, give your talk, and share the amazing things that are happening within your discussion and area. So it's a really quick 10 or 15-minute talk on a larger stage, but we want to, again, we're providing the microphone to amplify the amazing things that are happening in Utah education. So if you're looking for something that you want to share quickly and with maybe a larger group, choose Utah Ed Chat. It's a fantastic way to get your proposal out there. Number 4, folks, is our traditional lecture. So this would be 1 to 2 presenters in a traditional 60-minute style presentation. So feel free to grab that one. And the last one, folks, perhaps my favorite one, I love going to these and I love being on these, is panels. So this would be 3 or more people presenting together, maybe in a Q&A where one person is kind of moderating and everyone else is discussing and sharing their ideas, or maybe you're presenting together in a specific format. But those are the 5 different types of proposals formats for UCET23. So again, learning spotlight, table, poster presentation, playground, hands-on demonstration, Utah Ed Chat, 10 to 15-minute TED-style talk, lecture, a traditional 60-minute presentation, or the panel, 3 or more people in a panel discussion. All right, so that hopefully gets you started thinking about, okay, I'm going with this strand. This would fit really well as a Utah Ed Chat. And then now you can start thinking about, okay, what's my title? What's my description? Who am I presenting with? All of that information. Down the line here, folks, you're going to see our title, description, any prerequisites, so software, things like that that you might need some people to learn a little bit more about. You're also going to need to put in your ISTE standards and which one it aligns best to, and virtual or in person. And then if this is a partner or exhibitor, and are you willing to repeat your session? We are going to have some space for repeated sessions as well, and any sort of constraints as well. Now down below, folks, again, you're going to see applying for the UCET board. If you're curious about some of the benefits, folks, we have a wonderful retreat every year for the board to plan the conference in the summer, where we take you out to somewhere around Utah and we have a great time and plan the conference, which we pay for all of the stuff that goes on there. But also at the conference, we take care of you and get you a space at the hotel and provide you some space there. So lots of really good benefits to being on the UCET board beyond working with amazing people and helping to further the cause of the amazingness that is Utah education. So if you're interested, folks, 4 simple questions. What organization are you with? What's your position title in that organization? What's your short biography? And I would like to serve on UCET board because, and then you're ready to roll. Okay. So with that said, folks, that is the call for proposals for UCET23. The link is down below in this video, but also it's going to be out all over our social media. It'll be on ucet.org. There are lots of different things that are going on with it. The big thing, folks, is that you have about 8 weeks from now till you can, the proposals close. So that's going to close on October 28th, 2022. We're closing them a little bit earlier this year again, and we're sending them out earlier this year as well, because we want to make sure that we pick the best sessions and we are able to slot those strands together to give you a great conference experience. So be prepared to have that done by October 28th, 2022. If you have any questions or worries, always feel free to email anyone on the board, but particularly me, matthew.winters@ucet.org. All right, with that said, folks, we are going to switch over now from UCET to ISTE. Again, we are the ISTE affiliate conference for Utah, and we're so excited to support what they're doing year to year, session to session. It's an amazing conference. And so if you've never heard of ISTE, folks, I'm going to go ahead and pull up their website here. ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education. It's a national and international conference, folks. It happens every year at the end of June. So this year, pulling up the dates here really quick. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. I believe it's just right at the end of June. Let's do 23. There we go. It is June 25th through 28th. And so you've got a lot of time before that conference happens. This year, it happens to be taking place in Philadelphia, which is one of my favorite cities. So I'm very excited to go back there in June and explore more of Philly, especially with the Utah crew, which is going to be awesome. ISTE, the conference is massive. It's a very large conference. It pulls in people from all over the country, all over the world, and you're going to meet a lot of really amazing people, see new things from different technology companies, and really get some of the best experience at a conference that I can attest to. So if you're interested, folks, and you've never heard of ISTE, ISTE.org is the website that you're going to want to go check out. On there, folks, you're also going to be able to see their events, or you can Google search ISTE23, and that will take you to their launch page. The call for proposals, folks, is a little bit different this year with ISTE. They have a few changes. I'm one of the ISTE community leaders, so I learned a little bit about these in a couple of our meetings this last couple of weeks. And so I wanted to share those with you and, again, go through a little quick checklist. So, folks, these are the checklist items that I would go ahead and think about before you consider proposing for ISTE. Now, the first thing that I want to say before I even get into that is that their call for proposals closes before UCETs. You thought we were early. It closes on September 30th. So you have only about 3 or 4 weeks to really write and then do your proposal for ISTE23. Now, you can submit as many as you want, and you can submit with whoever else you would like, just like co-presenters, and as we talked about in UCET. The big thing here is that you want to get on that sooner than later and consider working, again, with a team to maybe get these sessions ready to roll. Now, with that said, folks, there are 5 things that I would definitely consider before you start your proposal process with ISTE. Okay. Number 1 is a session title. So again, just like UCET, a 10-word or less snappy title could be, again, academies, it could be super entertaining, whatever you want, but some sort of title that tells us exactly what we're getting out of the session. So making that really quick, here is what I'm going to be covering, the different ideas, those sorts of things in your title makes it really, really easy. Number 2, folks, is your session type. We're going to go over and look at ISTE sessions types here in just a minute. There's a few new ones that they're excited about. I'm excited about. I saw them and I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, I'm going to have to go check out just any of these in the format because they look amazing. But there's a lot of session types. There's way more than what we have at UCET. And I think it's just something to really consider, digging deeply into those session types and seeing which one fits best for you. Number 3, folks, is, well, sorry, the next 3, folks, are directly lifted from call for proposals in prior years, and having these kind of prepared and ready to go as a thought process is really important. So the first one, folks, is an overview. Now, as opposed to UCET, where we ask for kind of a shorter overview, ISTE has a much larger space for an overview of your session. This would be kind of paragraphs of, this is what my session is about, the history, the background, why the session is important to the larger community, and what kind of things you can expect from the session. So really diving deeply into the larger scheme of things. So with that one, I've never been afraid of space as opposed to some other conferences that I've presented to. So I always write between 200 to 500 words, somewhere in that range for that section, just because I want to really narrow down and nail down exactly what I'm going to be talking about in my half-hour, 2-hour session, whatever I'm going to be working with. Number 2, folks, is your outline. Now, ISTE really likes to know exactly what you're going to be covering within your session, down to somewhat a minute by minute. And so thinking about, okay, I'm going to propose for a 60-minute session. Here is the 60 minutes broken down by different chunks. So 5 minutes is an introduction to the session. 5 minutes is showing the materials. 10 minutes is for this, and really highlighting exactly what you're going to be covering in that time. So it's a little bit more detailed than some conferences, but it does help to have that detail as well. The last one, folks, is learner outcomes. So just like our students in our classes, we want to show what the teachers who are going to be coming to our sessions are going to learn. Could be specific bullet points. You might be doing I can or I learn statements, whatever works best for you. ISTE does have some language there to help support that. So I definitely read over that as you get deeper into the call for proposals. But thinking about, here are the learner outcomes. Here are the things that the learner is going to walk away from in that session. That would be really fantastic, and it would really help you get ahead. So again, just like what we talked about with UCET, I would set up a document of some kind that you could kind of generate the ideas here. Here's what my session title is going to be. Here's the type I've identified. Here's my overview. Here's my outline. Here's the learner outcomes. And then you can write and edit those and share them and get some feedback. And honestly, folks, if you don't know anybody that will give you feedback on a conference proposal like this for ISTE, feel free to shoot me an email, matthew.winters@ucet.org, or contact any of our board members. A lot of us have been past presenters at ISTE and other national and international conferences, and we would love to read over your proposal and give you maybe some quick feedback, maybe some in-depth feedback, depending on time and amount of time before the proposals due. Again, it's due on September 30th. So just got a couple weeks, folks. All right. With that said, we're going to jump over to their live call for proposals just really quickly. Now, first of all, folks, I'm actually going to go over to ISTE.org. To get to this, folks, you're going to go ahead and hit events and then ISTE Live. And this should take you directly to their page for Philadelphia, which it does. This is June 25th through 28th, again, 2023. And down below, folks, they're going to have a link to learn more, which is the call for proposals. So you do have to log into their system. You're going to have to create an account if it's your first time. So that you can do that with your email and then set a password. It takes just a couple minutes, but it is required for that process. So make sure you get into that. If you've never been to ISTE, or if it's been a few years, you might want to watch this video too, to kind of recap what happened in New Orleans, which was a great experience. A lot of us from Utah were at that conference. I definitely was. Shout out to anybody who went to Cafe Du Monde with the Utah crew on Sunday night and got donuts. It was one of my favorite moments of the entire conference, to be honest. It was such a good time. Really great group of people there. So you might want to check that out if you've never been. It kind of helps you walk through and see what the conference is like. I will tell you right now that if you've never been, folks, the video does not do it justice. It is a much bigger conference than you could ever estimate from a video. You will get lost at the conference, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that happens all across the board. You can also sign up for their mailing list, so you can see all sorts of stuff. But although signing up to propose will get you on that mailing list as well. So once you log in, folks, you can see up here, I got mine logged in. They're going to talk about attending, sponsorship and exhibit, your account, that sort of thing. But then they're going to ask you if you want to do a presentation. Let's get started. So the first thing, folks, that they're going to ask you is, again, the session format. What's the session that you would like to propose and why? They're going to dig into that. So before we get into the different session types, right over here on the right-hand side, I do want to point out that they do have general conference questions and submission questions. So as you go through and you're like, I'm not sure what this means, I have questions, you can email anybody on the UCET board. We'd be happy to help out. But this is probably your best bet on top of that, folks. I've always had a good time emailing anybody from ISTE. They tend to get back very quickly to people. All right, here are the session types, folks. So first of all, we have what's called an Ed Talk. This is an hour-long in-person presentation with one or more presenters addressing a student audience. So think this is a lecture. Okay, you're going to be presenting for an hour directly to an audience member. They're also allowing for a virtual option. So if you're not able to make it to Philadelphia, or if you prefer doing a virtual session, last year in New Orleans, I did face-to-face and virtual, and both of them were excellent. It was super fun to do either one. So Ed Talks, virtual or in person, but hour-long or 45-minute long, seated, sit and get presentation. Second one, folks, is a panel. This is an hour-long presentation with a designated moderator with 2 or more panelists on a particular topic. Or it can be virtual with 45 minutes, same program. So again, thinking about, here's a group of people. We're all going to designate a moderator. We're going to have a conversation about a particular topic. Number 3, folks, is a research paper. This is a 20 to 30 minute roundtable presentation, lecture presentation, a half hour or an hour long roundtable presentation, or a 90-minute poster presentation. So 3 different time amounts, 3 different styles as well. So from prior experience, and if anybody else has ever gone to a research paper that's 20 to 30 minutes, it's really kind of fun. 30 minutes at a table, they present to a small group, and you're able to ask questions, challenge, discuss those sorts of things. You also have an hour-long roundtable, that's what I meant to say, 23 minutes, like sit and get presentation, or a 90-minute poster presentation. There's also virtual, which is a 10 to 15-minute lecture or poster presentation featuring the original research as well. Then you have what's called a snapshot. These are 30-minute micro presentations that focus on a particular instructional model, technology solution, or content provider resources. Often they're paired together with their 2 content area or tool specific presentations that match really well together. Or it can be a 20-minute micro presentation with a 5-minute Q&A at the end. So these are really fun. Snapshots are great, especially if you're not used to presenting This is a great way to get started because they're shorter and you can really dive deeply into a specific idea. All right, the next ones, folks, are called Participate and Share. These are blends of presentations and interaction between presenters and audience or among participants. This is one of the brand new ones, folks. This is called Campfire. It's one of the ones that I am super excited about. This is a 1 to 2 hour presentation where the educators who are in charge are facilitating an unconference style presentation and conversation with the audience. Sadly, there's no virtual option. This is only in person, but that's because you're having a lot of collaboration, discussion among the participants, and it sounds like a really fun model. Number 2, folks, is a forum. This is a 2 to 3 hour presentation. This one provides deep thematic learning. They're curated for a specific audience or around a curriculum focus, and they're including structured networking opportunities. So meeting other people who are doing similar things or maybe have a similar role in the content area. Number 3, folks, is an interactive session. This is a hour-long session featuring audience participation and interaction with the presenters during the session. Could be hands-on, collaborating on a document, presenter-led back channels, those sorts of things. This also is a virtual session, so in-person or virtual interactive session. Poster, student, this is recommended this year for 2 specific groups. So if you've gone to ISTE before, folks, they're very focused. Poster presentations are amazing. This year, they're very focused on student-based presentations and global projects. So if you've done a poster before, know that posters are very focused this year on those 2 groups, which if you can bring students or talk about something that's in the global community, these are great presentations. Again, 90 minutes in a multi-booth kind of poster presentation style, or combined 45-minute live session that's virtual. This one's super cool. Trips and tours, 1 to 2 hour in person, discover local area through a offsite excursion. Sadly, no virtual offerings. That makes sense though, but very much straightforward with what it is. The next section, folks, is explore and create. There is an exploratory creation lab. This is a 60-minute session exploring new resources, developing new skills, hands-on learning activities, and attendees are required to pre-register. So they have to register for your session, which is kind of fun and interesting. This is in person or virtual. Deep dive is the same exact thing, except it's 90 minutes in length. So just know that's the only difference between those 2. I did one of these last year, Creation Lab, and they are super fun, really engaging sessions, and can be really great for connecting with an audience and giving them some time to create some things. The last one, folks, is the playground. So in prior years, the playgrounds were developed by the Community Leaders Program at ISTE and kind of curated. This year, they are asking for proposals for playgrounds. So if you're thinking, I want to coordinate multiple presenters that come together and do a 10 booth or a 5 booth playground, this could be a really interesting opportunity. That's one of the ones I'm targeting to possibly put in for as well. They do ask that you would like a converted format. So this means that, hey, I would like to do X, but I'm willing to do Y if you'd like me to, if you're going to accept my proposal. So they do ask that. And then presenting virtually or face-to-face. That's the first thing they ask you to settle, folks. And then they dive deeper into all the other stuff that we've talked about here: session title, overview, outline, and learner outcomes. All right, with that said, folks, again, ISTE is closed. I'm going to put this again at the bottom here on September 30th. So you have about 3 to 4 weeks here to get proposals ready to roll, proposals put in for ISTE. And I would very much encourage you to do so. If you're developing one for UCET, it probably would work for ISTE, at least to propose. You might not get in. That's okay. They might ask you to convert your format. That's okay. But the goal is that the more we share as a community in Utah, and the more we share as an educator community in Utah, not only within our Utah community, but with the larger national and international community, the better the spotlight is on the amazing things that are happening here. So with that said, folks, just a couple reminders as we kind of wrap up here, folks. First off, for any information about UCET, go to ucet.org. That will get you set up with all the materials that you need to know there. The call for proposals is down below, as well as on our social media and all sorts of places. So be ready to roll with that. The call for proposals for UCET23, which will be on March 14th and 15th, closes on October 28th, so be prepared for that. ISTE is open now, and you can find that at ISTE.org. The call for their proposals ends on September 30th. So, man, too many dates, folks. September 30th. So be prepared for that as well, folks. If you have any questions or worries after watching this webinar, feel free to reach out to me, Matt Winters at matthew.winters@ucet.org, or at mwinters@uen.org. I'd be more than happy to discuss and work through any questions you have. All right, with that said, folks, thank you again so much for your time today. Hopefully this was helpful. It got you started on the pathway to getting prepared for UCET in March of 2023 and ISTE in June of 2023. We are so excited as a Utah community. We have so many good things going on here in Utah. Let's get out there. Let's share. Let's be together at UCET23 and really dive deeply. All right. With that, thanks again, folks. And email if you have